In the distant reaches of the Helix cluster, aboard the gleaming starship Aurora Dawn, a unique experiment in interspecies interaction was underway. Humans and aliens alike lived under the same roof. But for the alien maid, Lyra, this was her first prolonged exposure to humanity. Her homeworld, Delthara, was rigid in its customs, where personal space was sacrosanct and emotional closeness was a carefully moderated dance. Lyra had been trained to serve efficiently, observing boundaries with precision. Yet, the human crew aboard the Aurora Dawn challenged everything she had learned. Lyra's first encounter with Captain Kale was unremarkable, or so she thought. He was a tall, broad-shouldered human with a calm, steady presence that seemed to ripple through the room. His greetings were polite, courteous, and firmly professional. Lyra responded with the practiced deference of a servant, bowing just enough to indicate respect without appearing submissive. Still, there was something in the way Kale's eyes lingered on her that unsettled her in the beginning. She dismissed it as curiosity. Humans were always curious, she had been told. Yet over the following days, Lyra found herself noticing things she had never paid attention to. The faint warmth of his hand as he passed her tools, the subtle gestures of encouragement when she completed her tasks, and the soft hum of his voice that seemed to calm even the ship's restless engines. Lyra's programming, so long ingrained, struggled to interpret these signals. They did not demand loyalty or obedience. They invited connection. One morning, the ship docked at a neutral outpost on the planet, Reller 9. Lyra was tasked with cleaning the captain's quarters while he attended a briefing with the Planetary Council. It was an ordinary assignment, but the room itself contained relics of human life that fascinated her. Photographs, books, and small keepsakes lined the shelves, each a story waiting to be understood. Lyra moved carefully, mindful of the personal space she had been taught to respect. Yet, as she polished a small figurine, she felt a strange pull, as if proximity itself held a meaning beyond function. Her contemplation was interrupted by the captain's return. Kale entered the room quietly, leaning against the doorframe with an easy smile. "Morning, Lyra. You always make this place shine." Lyra stiffened, unsure how to respond. Her protocol dictated a simple acknowledgement. "Thank you, Captain." Yet the sincerity in his voice made her hesitate. She looked up and met his gaze, and for a moment, the boundaries between master and servant, human and alien, blurred. "Would you like to have breakfast with me?" Kale asked, almost shyly. Lyra's mind raced. This was not an order, nor was it a request bound by duty. It was an invitation. She had never shared a meal socially with a human outside of protocol. Her instincts urged caution, but a deeper curiosity, one she could not name, compelled her to nod. They dined together in the small galley, the aroma of Earth-style coffee mingling with the faint scent of Deltharan spices she carried from her meals. Conversation flowed naturally, a tentative bridge between worlds. Kale spoke of human customs, laughter, and stories from Earth, while Lyra shared her knowledge of Delthara, its history, and the intricacies of her culture. Each exchange was a revelation, each smile a new kind of warmth she had never experienced. Days turned into weeks, and Lyra found herself seeking proximity to Kale more frequently. She noticed the way his presence seemed to stabilize the ship's crew, how his calm and steady confidence inspired trust and admiration. One evening, as the two of them repaired a minor systems malfunction in the engine bay, Lyra reached instinctively for a tool he had dropped. Their hands brushed, and the contact lingered longer than necessary. A flush of unfamiliar emotion rose within her. Lyra had never been trained for closeness of this kind. It was not physical labor she feared, nor failure in her duties. It was the emotional resonance, the pull of human connection that defied logic. She excused herself abruptly, retreating to her quarters to recalibrate her thoughts and her feelings. Yet the sensation did not fade. Over the next several weeks, Lyra began to experiment with small acts of closeness, offering Cale his preferred beverage without being asked, standing a little closer than protocol dictated, and occasionally resting her gaze on him just a fraction longer than necessary. She was testing boundaries, exploring the delicate space between service and intimacy. Cale, perceptive as he was, noticed the subtle shifts. He did not chastise her, nor did he exploit her hesitation. Instead, he mirrored her gestures in kind, allowing a slow, mutual understanding to develop. The human and the alien learned the rhythms of each other, a silent dance of proximity and distance, curiosity and respect. The turning point came during a critical mission. The Aurora Dawn was ambushed by a band of space marauders while traversing the uncharted Clyden Belt. The ship shuddered under the first barrage of plasma fire, alarms blaring through every corridor. Crew members scrambled to stations, but Lyra froze, caught between duty and the raw fear that surged through her. Cale appeared at her side instantly, his presence steadying. "Lyra, follow my lead. Trust yourself. Trust me." Together, they navigated the chaos, Lyra handling repairs and shields while Cale directed evasive maneuvers. In the cramped, trembling corridors, their hands brushed again, this time with intent. Lyra felt a surge of clarity. Closeness was not weakness. It was strength. Her desire to be near Cale, to match his courage and resolve, transformed into a tangible drive, pushing her beyond the limits she had imposed upon herself. After the battle, with the marauders driven off, and the ship patched sufficiently, Lyra found herself alone on the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly before her, and Cale joined her quietly, no words necessary. He did not crowd her space. He simply existed alongside her, a silent affirmation of the trust and closeness they had forged. "Lyra," he said finally, his voice soft, "you've proven yourself beyond what I expected, not just in skill, but in heart." Her throat tightened. Deltheron customs had no word for the warmth she felt, for the longing to linger near him, to share not just duties but moments, not just tasks but understanding. She realized, with startling clarity, that human closeness was not something to fear, it was something to embrace. Over the following months, their bond deepened. Lyra learned to navigate the subtleties of human interaction, from casual touches on the arm to shared laughter that echoed through the corridors. She discovered the joy of simple presence, the comfort of someone who saw her as more than a role or function. And Cale, in turn, admired the alien maid who had once been so distant, who now moved with confidence, warmth. An unspoken affection about their relationship became a quiet legend aboard the Aurora Dawn. Crew members noticed the subtle signals, the way Lyra's movements harmonized with Cale's, the way their laughter seemed to punctuate the hum of the ship, the way they supported each other without words. It was a partnership forged in the crucible of space travel, in the shared challenges of survival and discovery. One evening, Lyra stood on the deck again, the twin suns of a distant system casting golden light across the stars. Cale approached, carrying 2 cups of tea. He handed one to her, and they stood side by side, watching the endless expanse. "Do you remember your first week aboard?" he asked. Lyra smiled softly. "I was so cautious. I could not imagine feeling like this." Cale glanced at her, a spark of amusement in his eyes. "Feeling close? Feeling human?" "Not human," she corrected gently. "Deltheran, yet different. I did not know closeness could be comforting, powerful, desirable." Cale nodded, understanding without judgment. "It is. It can be both strength and solace. And you've learned that better than anyone I know." Lyra looked at him, the words forming naturally now, without hesitation. "I desire it more than I expected. Your presence, your trust, it has awakened something I did not know I could feel." Cale smiled, the first true warmth in his expression since the battle. "And I am grateful for it. You've taught me too, Lyra. Even a human can learn from an alien heart." From that moment forward, their connection was undeniable. It was not bound by species, by expectation, or by tradition. It was a bond forged in understanding, in shared experiences, in the courage to embrace closeness when it had once been feared. Lyra discovered that desire in its purest form was not mere longing, it was recognition of a soul that complemented her own. The Aurora Dawn continued its journey across uncharted systems, and wherever it went, Lyra and Cale remained at each other's side. The alien maid who had once been unprepared for human closeness now sought it, reveled in it, and nurtured it. Each mission, each discovery, each shared quiet moment reinforced the unspoken truth. Proximity did not diminish identity. It enriched it. In the quiet of the ship's observation deck, amid the glow of distant stars, Lyra finally understood. Desire, trust, and closeness were not weaknesses to fear. They were strengths to embrace. And in the human captain beside her, she found a companion, a friend, and a mirror to the parts of herself she had never dared to explore. As the twin suns dipped below the horizon of an alien world, Lyra felt a surge of certainty. She had faced her fears, embraced the unfamiliar, and discovered a universe not just of stars, but of connection. And in that boundless expanse, she realized that closeness, true, honest closeness, was the most extraordinary adventure of all. Their journey was just beginning, and Lyra was no longer on prey.